Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're listening to this interview anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. Our community has grown to like over 6,000. I think right now we're at like 6,000, almost 6,300 members. So if you're a coach, consultant, or service provider and you're not a part of the community, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. Now, today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Alaric. Welcome, Alaric.
Hi, Extus. It's always good to have you to be here. Yeah, thank you for
Awesome.
this opportunity.
Love it, man. And you're located in where? Singapore, right?
Yeah, I'm located in Singapore. I
Nice.
run a coaching business in Singapore and Malaysia.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about your coaching business.
Okay, so I'm a Facebook marketing coach. So right now we have the largest Facebook marketing community in Singapore. In the last 16 months, we have over 1,200 students, paid students. Yeah. So there's no coach who has more students in Singapore. We are the largest. Yeah.
I love that, man. Goodness, you're dominating back there, huh?
Correct. Yeah. Singapore's a small country, so it's easier to dominate in. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was lucky that I kind of went into the wave early. So that's how I got started as a coach. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. What about, because you also did you do offline events as well, too, right? In person?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I do seminars, offline seminars, to market my online course. So my course
Mm-hmm.
is online, but I use offline seminars to market my online course. And so far we have done over $1 million in sales.
Mm-hmm.
And when I so so yeah, so I run Facebook ads to get people to go for my seminars. And at every single seminar, the closing rate is about 10 to 20% of people who buy the paid programs. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So what's your backstory, man? How did you get started with marketing?
Okay, so I've done 5 different businesses before. Like my first business was when I was 19 years old. So I did a healthy food delivery business. So I sealed a deal with DBS Bank, which is a very, very big bank in Singapore. They have 10,300 staff. So I was serving food for their staff. So that was my first business. My second business was an entrepreneurship platform. So I built a sales team of 140 people. That was when I was still 19 years old. So I was leading a sales team of 140 people, and it was doing network marketing. I sold all kinds of things, tailor-made shirts to cordyceps to health products to electricity, all kinds of things, right? And then my third business is a sales and marketing agency. So I run Facebook ads for clients. My fourth business was a 6-figure e-commerce business selling cosmetics. And then my fifth business right now is the current business that I'm doing, which is my coaching and seminar business. Yeah. So how I got started in Facebook marketing is because when I was doing network marketing in my second business, when I in my first month doing network marketing, my mentor, my upline will tell me, oh, you must go and prospect 300 people that you're write a master star list of 300 people that you know and prospect all of them. And I actually ran out of all my prospects and leads in the first or second month. So I didn't have any new leads to prospect. So I was thinking, okay, where can I go to find new leads? So I knew I needed to get cold leads. So I went for a lot of networking events. I went for like BNI. Okay, BNI, I'm not sure if there is BNI in America, but in Singapore it's quite popular. I went for Lions Club. I went for a lot of different networking events, and they were huge waste of time because, like, for me, I don't like to wake up early. So all of them are all early in the morning, and waking up early in the morning to meet people and everything was just very, very tiring, right? And it was only one day when I started doing Facebook marketing, okay, where I just texted people I just added people as friends, random strangers as friends, okay, and then I just texted them, and I would just chat with them, build rapport with them, and meet them up for an appointment. And during the appointment, I will introduce them to my network marketing platform. And I was able to build a team of 140 people just through cold texting. Yeah, and I built my whole sales team this way. So that was like, whoa, Facebook marketing is one of the best ways to get clients. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Awesome.
that's how I started. Yeah.
Yeah, so you said you used to prospect them, and then so you have a conversation with them on Facebook, and then you actually meet up with them in person.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, awesome, man. Goodness, but you, in terms of starting businesses, you've definitely got a lot of track record. Have you always been like an entrepreneur? So would you say you're just a natural entrepreneur?
Okay, so since young, I loved business. I loved marketing. Um, I remember when I was 16 years old, I had this dream that I want to turn 10 cents into $1 million. So I found 10 cents on the floor, right? Then and I told myself, okay, I'm gonna double this all the way until it becomes until it becomes $1 million. So like 10 cents, 20 cents, 40 cents, 80 cents, 160, 320, etc. Right? So I took the 10 cents, I traded with my friend. I say, hey, I got this dream. Can you trade 20 cents with me? So he just gave it to me, right? And then I traded it for 50 cents and everything. So after that, I bought a canned drink, okay, for 40 cents to sell and make it 80 cents, right? And then I bought a bottled drink to sell it for 120, right? So every year I was just doubling my money. And then within like 2 months, I turned my 10 cents into $1,000. Okay. How I did it, right, was I was just buying and selling, like, so I did all kinds of things. I bought bread, and then I'll cook a French toast, and then I'll sell it to my friends in school. I did all kinds of things in order to learn how to make money or to learn how to start a business. And I learned a lot of business principles along the way. And it was once, okay, my big quantum leap was this. Um I bought a prepaid SIM card, a prepaid phone card to call people. So I went to do cold calls. So I bought a $25. I spent $25 to buy a card so that I can cold call people. And after I called 300 over people, I used to suck at sales. I sucked at sales so bad. I called over 300 people. I closed one sale. Okay, but that one sale, well, it was kind of lucky. I believe. Like now looking back, I realized it was kind of lucky. But I closed someone who bought a mattress system, like a health and wellness mattress system, which was $3,000, and my commissions was like $500+. Yeah, so that's how I doubled and become like $1,000 very very quickly. Yeah, so but now that I look back, I realized that I was very very lucky, right? That if I continue doing that, right, I think if I caught 1,000 more people, I wouldn't even get another sale, because I realized that selling and enrolling clients and getting leads and getting sales, there is a proven formula to do it. There's a proven framework. For example, what you have a proven framework on how do you get appointments, how do you enroll clients. And when people don't follow a proven framework, it's like trying to bake a cake without having a recipe. I mean, can you do it? The answer is yes, but it just will take a lot of trial and error, which I went through the hard way. I went through so much of hard knocks, like for example, like how do I talk to someone through Facebook and meet them up for an appointment? Okay, it's after talking, I've talked to literally tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands, okay, 5 figures of people on Facebook before, okay, and because I've talked to so many people, I know I formulated a script on how to get them to meet me up for an appointment. And it reached a point where I even know what they're gonna say before they say it. So like I know, okay, if I say this, they'll either say this or this, because there's only a few permutations. So if they say this, I'll say that. If they say this, I'll say that. So I formed a whole script on exactly how to get them to come for an appointment. Yeah. So and it was just through a lot of hard knocks, a lot of trial and error. Which of course, if let's say they learned it the faster way, then they don't have to go through like what I went through here.
Yeah, that's always good, man. And that's what I love as well too, because I know there's a lot of people who teach stuff, and it's stuff they really haven't done before, but the stuff you teach is stuff you've really done, right? So
Correct.
the uh, the question now becomes, in terms of sales, right? So have you always been attractive sales, and have you always been like comfortable with sales? Because I know most individuals, especially with people in maybe the coach and consultant community, those who are newer, when you think of sales, some of them are like, I don't know if I could sell and blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
For you, it sounds like, just from what you shared, it sounds like you've always been on that. Well, you've always been comfortable with it. Would that be the case?
Okay, so no, I was so bad at sales. Like when I did my 300 cold calls,
Mm-hmm.
it reached a point. It was so bad that every day I would force myself to just call 5 people, just 5 people, and I had to force myself to do it. And like I forced myself, okay, every day I must call 5 people. If I don't call 5 people today, the next morning I need to do like 50 push-ups or like 10 push-ups for everyone that I don't call, right? And it reached a point where I had even had to do handstands and push-ups to psych myself up to call people, because I dreaded calling people so much, because it was just so much rejection. Can you imagine a 16-year-old boy going through 300 rejections in a row? That could scar him for life and traumatize him so much that he would never dare to pick up the phone again to call anyone, right? And so I was so bad at it. And that's why I really regretted not doing it the right way. I really regretted not doing it the right way, because until today, when I call people, I still have a little bit of a trauma, right? Which is why I don't really take phone calls. I kind of text people more, or I'll do webinars, I'll do seminars, but I don't really take phone calls. Especially like if people call me, I'll just text them and say, hey, so until today, I still have a little bit of a trauma. I've overcome it slightly because it's been quite a few years, right? So I've overcome that trauma slightly, but until now, I'm still quite traumatized about cold calling. Yeah. So if I could replay time, I would definitely wanted to have, I would want to follow a proven framework, such that I didn't have cold call people, which is we all know it's not effective cold calling, right? of course, if it's like a hot call where the lead is already pre-framed, maybe they've set through a webinar or they've set through a video, right? And they're pre-framed to book an appointment with you, and they are the one who booked the appointment with you and everything. When you call them, it's a lot easier to close, right? Yeah. So I wasn't always good at sales. And I until today, I think I'm still growing. Right? I've spent over tens of thousands of hours to learn sales. Like if you literally cut my blood, you'll see sales, right? Like I've consumed I've consumed so many books about sales, hundreds of books about sales. I'm not kidding when I say hundreds, right? Sometimes I can finish a whole book in a day or 2 days or 3 days, right? And I spent over 10,000 hours mastering this. So I'm still getting better. And of course, there's still up times and down times. Like today, I did a webinar. I didn't do very, very well. Yeah, it was one of the worst webinars I did in the last 2 months. And but I'm still growing in that sense. But it's always from the, like it's when you're down that you start to figure out what went wrong. That's when you start improving, which I think is it's part of the game. And I right now I do enjoy selling to people because I always believe that when I sell to someone, I'm serving them. When I'm enrolling them into my program, I'm serving them. I'm not harming them in any way. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so powerful. I love that as well, because I definitely believe a video I shot yesterday was a video on following up, because I know there's a lot of individuals who they get, especially if individuals who are just trying to figure out how do I get started, how do I get my first paying client or next paying client or something. The issue is like, hey, I sent a message and they didn't respond, and I'm kind of like afraid maybe they just don't like me or it's rejection. And I'm like, no, like you got to follow up. You got to send, and from my perspective, at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 to 7 follow up messages, even if you don't get a response, simply because I realize that that's really where the sales come from. It's in the follow up, right? And you really can't get
Right.
caught up on not following up. So my question for you is that in terms of your skills, what would you say you're the best at in terms of skills you have?
I would say I've honed 3 skill sets, and I think that every entrepreneur must learn these 3 skills, which is marketing, branding, and sales. Marketing is basically how do you promote your products and services, how do you get awareness, how do you generate leads. Branding is how do you increase the perceived value of what you're doing. So, for example, like I help entrepreneurs to brand themselves by telling them to write their own book, right? So, like, imagine 2 coaches. One coach has a book called about their topic. Let's say a health coach has a book about the healing power of your body, whereas another coach doesn't have a book. Definitely we'll go for the one who has a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or having a website, right? Or being having their name ranked on Google. So I always recommend everyone to do these 5 things to brand themselves. Okay, write a book, build their own website, rank their name on Google. So like when people search your name, they can find you on Google. Get thousands of followers on like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. And also do this thing called branding by association. So for example, getting endorsements from celebrities, from influencers, etc. So I do these 5 things to brand myself. That's why I got like shout outs from Grant Cardone, JT Fox, Aaron Sansoni, Robert Kiyosaki, etc. So it's very important to do branding by association, get thousands of followers, rank your name on Google, write a book, and also build a website. Yeah, build a website like that's your own name.com, like alaric.ong.com. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's branding. And sales. So sales is basically how do you convert the leads into sales, right? How do you collect money over the phone? How do you collect money through a seminar, through a webinar, through a face-to-face appointment? So I think every entrepreneur must learn these 3 skills, because once you learn these 3 skills, you can take that entrepreneur and put him in any industry, and he will kind of succeed. He will probably succeed. Very, very high chance of success, so
Yeah,
long as they
yeah.
know these 3 skills. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. I love what you shared about the comparison, which is when you said if a health coach writes one book, right, and the other health coach, or there are 2 health coaches, but one has a book and one doesn't, the one who has the book just naturally is going to do better. And I think that's so
Definitely.
important, because most individuals, especially new individuals, when they're just getting started, they just believe like, well, I could just do the bare minimum to make my business work and to do whatever. But the thing is, sure, you could get started without having a book, but the whole goal is, the thing is, when prospects, when people are looking to make decisions online, they're comparing, right? They're not just saying, they're not just going with the first person. They're comparing you to that other person, to that other person, to that other person. And as you said, it's more of who has that more perceived value, who has a higher perceived value. Those are typically the guys who win, right?
Definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. So what's the next shift? Well, with the COVID-19, has it kind of affected your business at all?
So at first, my business was quite affected because I couldn't do any more live seminars, and my business was primarily about seminars. So right after the COVID hit, I think my income dropped by about 80% because I didn't do any more live seminars. And I always believe that's the time where people either adapt and grow or they die. Right? It's either they evolve and learn new skill sets or they die. So I forced myself to learn how to sell on webinars. And until now I'm still learning how to sell on webinars. And most of the time, every time I do a 2-hour webinar, we'll do about 5 figures. When I first started my first webinar, I remember I only made $450 on my first webinar, and I think it was barely profitable in terms of the ad spend to the webinar.
Was that the
So
last time you sent me the message saying you were doing the webinar, the
where
several months ago or something?
yeah, so I started doing a webinar like in April. I started doing my first webinar when COVID like really like all the lockdowns started happening, and that was the only way I could reach clients. But now like everything still goes on as per normal. Like I in this last month in May alone, I think I got about more than 100 clients. No, in April and May, I got more than 100 clients just in these 2 months alone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So business is going on as usual, and I'm still practicing how to do webinars and everything. But I think I'll get a hang of it after more webinars that I do. Yeah, and that's practice makes perfect. It's
Yeah.
just part of the game.
Yeah. Definitely, webinars is definitely a skill. I know with most individuals, right? So they get to doing webinars and they do one and it kind of sucks, and they were like, ah, and they get kind of freaked out. But for myself, I've done like webinars so much. I've done so many of them. I've kind of broken it down to a science. But the more you do it, you always realize you always learn and learn and learn, and you just keep tweaking, and it just keeps working better and better and better. Yeah, awesome, man. So the question now becomes, in terms of what's the next level, what's the next vision that you have for as far as where you headed in your business?
My next goal in my coaching business is to do more mergers and acquisitions. Yeah. So like I realized that okay, my dream is to become a billionaire. And I realized that I cannot be a billionaire just through coaching alone, because like even a top coach, Tony Robbins, he's not even worth a billion yet, right? So I know that like in order for me to be a billionaire, I have to be building businesses like brick and mortar businesses or like tech businesses, etc. So right now I'm pivoting my model in the sense that instead of charging people a fee for coaching, I charge them, I get equity in their company instead. So for example, let's say I own 20% of a tuition business, I own another 20% of a social media marketing agency, I own another 20% of a quit smoking business, etc. So so this way, when I raise funds and everything for these businesses, I get to I get to sell my shares in these businesses, my equity, and like because I realized the whole coaching model, right, is very is a little bit flawed in the sense that a coach, after they receive payment, let's say I charge someone $5,000 for coaching, okay? After I receive payment, right, my motivation to help him or her is not as high because I already collected the payment. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if let's say I'm paid based on 20% of what they make, I'm more motivated to help them because whatever they make, and I get a lifetime, I make 20% of the lifetime of what they make. So I'm trying to shift the whole coaching industry such that instead of being a guru and then just selling an online course and selling courses, I want to I want to partner with my students and have a vested interest in them being successful. Now, of course, this model will also have its own flaws. For example, let's say like for me to make 10K in a webinar, okay, it's easy because I've already trained myself in the skill set to do so, right? But to train a new person to get to the point where they can make 10K in a webinar will take about 2 years, or maybe like it will take a long while. Of course, true coaching can shortcut their learning curve, but it'll still take time because they need to build their brand, they need to learn how to generate leads, they need to learn how to sell. There's a lot of things they need to fine tune on before they can reach the same level. So sometimes it will come to my mind like, okay, maybe it's not worth the time to coach this person, because if I took that time, like if I took that 50 hours to coach this person to get to 10K a webinar, I could do 50 webinars, which would have made me X number of dollars. Yeah. So so I'm exploring different models in coaching. But I think that if I can do something like that, then it will be a very win-win relationship whereby I am super motivated for my student success. and it's more win-win that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a brilliant model as well too, because as you said, it's one of those places where if you're invested in something, right, you have the motivation to say, okay, let's try now make this work. It's a lot higher than someone who maybe gets paid all these different things, and then it's like, okay, there's not that much motivation anymore, right? So in essence, I guess the
Have you
biggest
explored
question.
such a model before? Have you explored like such a model, like a revenue share or profit share or
Mm,
percentage of sales, or based on results, like
yeah,
coaching based on results? Have you explored such a model before? I want to hear your thoughts since you've been in
yeah.
this space for a while.
Mhm. I haven't. I haven't a lot of people approach me on that type of model, but because I realize for myself, right? Because I'm always surrounded by a team, and most of the opportunities that come to us, I always have to run it by my team because I'm so caught up in the coach and the consultant type of. I'm I don't really have time to explore those other models, but I did have a lot of people bring me these what do you call those those opportunities, but I really haven't entertained it. But I could see how it does make sense if you find the right person, because just like we have a few students who in their businesses and the pace at which they're growing, it's like out of this world. Just like my client Sean, he started off like a few months ago. Now he's already at like 30K per month, and he's grown so fast, man. And another one of my clients, Mark, same thing. He's about maybe about 60 to 80K per month right now, and he's growing
Mm.
so fast. But when I look at the model, I'm like, that's based on their business model. That's a brilliant thing. So I really haven't considered it before. Some people have approached me with it, but I've never considered it. But hearing you talk about it now it sounds pretty enticing, because I could see how those individuals, those clients who did build these businesses, their work ethic, what they're about, I could see how they're on solid foundation. They got a really good.
If let's say you meet a student
Mhm,
who doesn't have money right now, but they are super motivated, and like they have the talent to become someone very, very successful, what will you do?
mhm. Um, if I would probably help them. I would probably help them because there's some individuals I have helped before, in terms of because some individuals I just realized, just like I have a few in my actually I'm talking to a few right now. I just realized, man, these individuals are superstars, because you could always tell, right? So there's some
Mm.
individuals where you could see they'll come to you for help, and it's like, I want to do this or whatever, and you could just looking at the track record and seeing what it is, you're like, I'm not sure if this is going to make sense. But when someone is a superstar, even if they don't, even if they're just against or whatever, you could tell because they shine. Just like there's a few
Yeah.
individuals.
Like some people, they just have the X factor, right? Like just in their voice and in the way in their eyes and something, like you can tell that, okay, this person, I'm putting a bet on this person
Yeah,
here.
yeah, and I do have some individuals. I have that on now. Granted that is there's no revenue share, or whatever, but I just know I basically have my eyes on them. They're not clients of ours or anything, but I have this kind of a relationship with them to the point of, okay, I could tell you're a superstar, and I'm gonna support you in whatever way I can, in a sense.
Mm.
Yeah,
Awesome, awesome.
love it, man. So what about I guess tell us a story, right? So I love the stories. And one thing I typically ask individuals who show up to the show, like based on where you are today in your life, your business, the direction that you're headed, can you share like a story maybe from your past that we could look back and say, oh, so that's how you kind of got to where you are, and that's why you do what you do. Do you have any stories you could share from your past?
All right, so I went for my first seminar when I was 16 years old. Uh, it was a seminar about like emotional healing and about like fixing my value system. It's about how do you release pain? How do you deal with stress? Emotional healing and like values, morals. This kind of training program, and that training program changed my life. So it got me onto the trajectory of growth, right? So after I went for a lot of seminars, I went for a lot of business seminars. Right, to date, I've spent over $90,000 on coaching seminars, masterminds, mentors, etc. Yeah. And I would say another turning point was when I was 19 years old and I had my first mentor, like someone that really mentored me, not just like a online course, but someone who I could talk with one on one. And he was doing network marketing, so I paid him $13,000 to learn from him. And because of his mentorship, when I was 19 years old, my first month doing network marketing, I made about $7,000, which I think for 19 years is pretty good. And my fourth month, I started making five figures. Like I was making about $11,000 my fourth month doing network marketing. And after that, because of his mentorship, I was able to build a sales team of 140 people in 10 months. So I think a lot of the turning points in my life is because of having the right coaches, the right mentors. And like, for example, is every coaching program helpful? I would say not every coaching program is helpful, right? But every coaching program helps me grow a little bit more, maybe just that 1% more, 2% more, and that's enough, because over the long run, when that plays out, that can mean a lot of growth. Yeah. So um and like the reason, you can tell I'm quite young, and the reason why I can still get clients who are way older than me. Okay, all my like 95% of my clients are older than me, right? All are like 30, 40, 50 years old, who want to learn Facebook marketing. And the reason why I can enroll clients who are even older than me, and I've got people who are like millionaires who are my students, right? Or people who for example, this guy, he runs a network marketing organization with 50,000 downlines under him. He makes $100,000 a month. And why does he enroll in my program is because I learned skill sets from mentors on how to position myself, on how to sell, on how to market myself, such that even people who are better than me will want to learn Facebook marketing from me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, yeah, a lot of the turning points in my life is because of coaches, because they really, really shortcut our learning curves. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, love it. Now, what about recently, right? So, a question I like to ask as well too is because I know as I go through my own day, every so often, every maybe week, every day, every other day, I get some like a big insight, like whoa, like that's a pretty cool concept or something. Over the past few days or weeks, have you got any big insights that you could kind of share?
Big insights, okay, I give an example of a deal that I recently did. Okay, so I told you I want to buy and sell businesses. So I bought a very, very simple, small little business, which is a tuition business. Okay, like she's a freelance tutor. She just does one-to-one tuition, and she's only making like 2,500 Sing dollars a month. Okay, so what I did, right, was I told her to give me 20% of equity. So I basically bought 20% of the company for $1. Okay, why? Why would she sell it to me? Because she knows that I can help her to grow more than 20% that she's giving me, right? If let's say I just double her business to 5K a month, which if I myself I've done over 6 figures a month before, can I help her to get to 5K a month? I think I definitely have the skill set to help her to do that. So she willingly give me 20% of the company, right? Okay. Right after we incorporated the company, on the day that we incorporated the company, the next day, I raised funds. Okay, so I sold 1% of the company for $6,000 to raise funds for this tuition business. Okay, the next day I also raised another $6,000, and then on that Friday I raised another $6,000. Within 1 week, we raised $18,000 for 3% of the company, which means now the company is worth, if 1% of the company is worth $6,000, 100% of the company is worth $600,000, right? I have 20% of equity in this company, which means I am I my net worth just shot up by $120,000 within a matter of a week. Yeah. So that's when I learned that, actually buying and selling businesses is one of the fastest way to create wealth, because there's a multiplier effect. Like I like, because I have certain skill sets, I'm able to buy businesses at $1 or like cheap. Like if let's say I want to buy it for $5,000 or $10,000, she'll definitely sell it to me because she knows that I have a strategic value to her as well. Right. So if every day I just buy a business for $1 and the next day I sell the business for 1% for maybe $10,000, very, very soon, I'll be able to generate a lot of wealth that way. So that was a quantum shift for me. So my goal is to, like, before I die, I want to IPO a company. I want to get a company public listed. Yeah. So I want to turn a company from zero to $1 million and from $1 million to IPO. Yeah. So these are two achievements that I want to have in my life. And for a business from zero to $1 million, I've done that with my coaching business. For a business from million to IPO, that's the next milestone. And I think if I can hit that, that'll be quite an accomplishment. Yeah.
Yeah, love it, man. So the final question, because we're running short on time, what about books,
Sure.
right? What books are you a pretty big reader? How do you get information?
Definitely, I read a lot. Okay, so I read a lot of classic books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, etc. The new book I'm gonna read right now is Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets. I've been a huge fan of Russell Brunson. I've learned a lot of stuff from him. Founder of ClickFunnels, which does over $100 million a year in revenue. This company is worth almost $1 billion. So I've seen how Russell Brunson has led his company. I think he did a phenomenal job. So I'm gonna read this book called Traffic Secrets to learn how to generate more traffic for my seminars, generate more traffic for everything in general. So I think that's a pretty good book that I'll be reading very, very soon. Yeah.
Yeah, love it, man. Awesome. Well, hey, man. Hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. Now, if someone wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to connect?
So you can find me on my website www.alaricong.com or my Facebook page. Just send me a message. If you send me a message, I'll send you my book for free. My book is called How to Use Facebook to Promote Your Business. So you go to my Facebook page, Alaric Space Ong. So the one with 33,000 followers. That's the one. Not my Facebook profile, but my Facebook page. Okay. Or my Instagram is at ALARICONGG. So Alaric Ong with two G's. Yeah. My YouTube channel, you can search me on YouTube, Alaric Ong, ALARIC space ONG. Yeah. So these are the ways to reach me. And I really want to thank Extus for having this opportunity to share my message. And I hope that this story will inspire more of you. That if you ever feel that you are afraid of selling, if you ever feel that you're scared of sales, or if you ever feel that you don't have the talent for sales, don't worry. Okay, I didn't have no one was born talented about sales. It's a skill set that is trained. Yeah.
Awesome, Alaric. Well, hey, man, thank you so much. I know you got a lot going on. You're pretty busy, but thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Thank you so much, Extus.